Hey everybody, Sodaron here. So today I've got for you another VOD review. We're going to work on MSI Knockout Stage Day 2, T1 versus G2, Game 1. And we've got a game here against two of the most popular teams in League of Legends esports, so I'm sure it'll be fun. So we'll go ahead and get into this game, which we've got Caster June, I think, and I'll fast forward this for you, save some time. We love Caster June. Okay, so there's the pick band.
Yeah, here we are into the draft already. Yasuo going to be taken away here by T1, which is, yeah, that's a bit targeted, one could say.
And it also makes me wonder, are they going to first pick TF, right? Because that was obviously what was Snap picked.
Okay, I've got my sheet here to make it easier, so I don't look like I know what I'm doing. T1's gonna ban Yasuo, Ornn, and Nocturne, and G2's gonna ban Lucian, Wukong, and Ahri. Pretty standard bans. The Nocturne, teams seem to want to use that against T1. It's an easy way to counter out Faker. You just dive into the back line every time, ult on him, 1 versus 2, and take him out. Or at least that's what they try, or that's what they think is their Faker counter. So T1 first pick Gwen, which see that like in every game, is top lane first pick Gwen. This gives G2 Galio, which T1 have a counter to Galio that they did not use in the final, but they use in this game.
But Broken Blade, I don't think it's really as much in his comfort zone. He did play it against T1 last time, and G2 played very heavily towards him with it, but it didn't really end up resulting in much of an advantage for them. You know, Broken Blade wasn't really able to make good on all the ganks that Yanko spent up towards that top lane.
So Gangplank has a 67% win ratio at the MSI.
For G2, and this works especially well with Kalista still on the board, right? Because Kalista works very well with Galio there towards the bottom side if you do want to put him in to a situation.
And I explained this on the last video, but this top portion,
up in the air here for G2. Speaking of which, Xayah going to be locked in.
I don't know exactly how to get this dialed in. This top part is the bans. This is the picks. Then this is the team comps they prepare, and the roster. Then the in-game stats. My system where I have the beginning and the end of games, and I can kind of fill in the middle. Or try. So T1 pick up Xayah and Viego, and G2 pick up Gangplank and Jarvan.
Very aggressive here early on. The J4 is going to be a great champion to do it with.
Yeah, and also with the Gangplank there towards the top side,
these are the runes,
like the Galio delivery system is something
and then these over here are the summoning spells.
T1 going to take their opportunity to get rid of the Kai'Sa, of course, Xayah Kai'Sa. We all remember those days.
So,
and LeBlanc is going to be taken away alongside the second half of the Lovers duo in the Rakan. Sorry, medic.
I think the Kai'Sa ban makes a lot of sense here. To me, by far, that has been Flackhead's best champion. You know, he's been really dominant on it. And I think he's going to have to prove that he can really perform to the level of Gumayusi and Keria.
And then we've got T1 banning out Kai'Sa.
You can't just depend on that one pick because he's going to get targeted.
Well, my expectation is that MF will be the direction that they go for. I do like the center ban. I think that actually makes a lot of sense because when we think about the Galio as a flank, center Galio was one of the common go-tos that you could draft towards the bot side of the map. But MF is the other one that I do think of. He did play a lot of Seri during the, playoffs, and of course we did see it a little bit at the beginning of MSI, but very debatable if it is still considered strong. Aphelios was actually something during the regular season he played a lot of, as every AD carry on the planet did.
I'm letting them fill in the information so I save my breath.
I know, crazy. But notice again that we are saving that final pick for that mid/support. They've kept the Galio as a flex, and it's going to largely depend on how T1 choose to round up the draft as they continue.
Got Renata Glask that has a great W.
a very powerful 2v2.
I really like
mechanic.
Because of what G2 is drafting, you're kind of assuming it's going to be a lot of dive, right? It's going to be a lot of coming at you here, with the Galio, with the J4, with the GP. The disengage here, the ability to do that with the Renault ulti, and also the W, if you're just trying to zero out one target, can be massive.
This is so interesting. Tristana mid going to be locked in for Faker.
And that's T1's counter to Galio, Tristana, which heavily punishes Galio if played correctly.
Seems like Faker doesn't mind that whatsoever. Tristana going to be picked up and most likely
Yes.
heading towards that mid lane unless there's some Xayah shenanigans. Or if you want to put it top lane, like who
Top
knows?
lane,
Gwen could go in the mid lane.
actually can work really well against GP, so there is a slight possibility. I'm expecting it to be for that Galio matchup here. But it is going to be,
Wow, we're
it is
just
going to be
selecting
Tarmo's
into it.
playing the Pike, so they're just going to play into it. Now, I am assuming it is going to be mid. Tristana mid is
These
much
are
more
kind of
dominant, so it's easier to
non-standard
get
team
safe
comps
mid lane,
here.
and then long extended lane with this marksman. But you do have some really strong early aggressive matchups. Almost always you're going towards Halo
Well, I
Blade
guess
unless you wanna kinda
T1's.
index towards
Well,
later on. But with Halo Blade and Ignite, you do have the potential to
we
all
see
in very
Gwen and
early. If
Viego
you
like
get
at every
pressure, you
game.
know how Tristana can farm these turret plates. But that being said, if you do misstep against a Galio J4, that is a duo that can punish you very, very heavily. And if Triss gets behind early in that mid lane, you can start feeling pretty useless.
When I look at this G2 draft, I think it's very simplistic in its approach. And when we think back to their playoff run, it is very straightforward, easy to execute, with a lot of early game options as well. In particular, you can see with the mobility on Targamas and his Pike and the J4 being able to be active in the early game, G2 do have early game
Well,
options,
let's get into
prioritizing
the
their
game
scaling
here.
team fighting later. I think what is terrifying about the C1 draft is
I don't know if I should fast forward this or just let it play out. I like watching the coaches bump fists with each other, and the commentators give good information.
Avoid and disengage away from a lot of the dive that will exist. So even if G2 are able to find these fights, I think that T1 have options. Even if on paper it seems that G2 will be favored in the 5v5.
I mean, so much of it is going to be about.
And
the
I've
initial
seen this
seconds of the fight,
game
because if G2 don't find that perfect
a few
EV,
times,
there's cluster shot and rocket jump from
but it's
just
been a
below, there's
week or
the
so,
ultimate
so I'm
from
trying
Sodaron,
to sit here and
disengaging
recall.
ultimate there.
And I know that probably doesn't sound very professional of me, but I have watched the game. I've heard others that do this type of content admit they don't even watch the game, so I've watched them 3 times. Sorry, I haven't been so talkative in the very beginning of this, but I can't be like that all the time.
MSI 2022 knockout stage. Both of these teams, this series just means so much. G2, can they do it again in a best of
So
5?
G2 is trying to invade T1. They like to fan out at the entrances.
And they can get all of those former shadows away. You're going to walk away from G2 here, spotted for
I
a
think
second
they're
there by Caps.
actually
Looks like
purposely trying to target Guma Yusi, so he'll blow his flash or something, and then they can gank him.
Information on G2's topside jungle. Would G2 look to split the map here, or are they just gonna?
So do they get a ward down?
They will. I mean, they're staying around a long time. They're definitely going to split map. This is actually very similar, but on opposite sides of the map to what happened in their second round robin game, where it was, Jankos playing top half split map towards Broken Blade on the GP, and it was T1 playing down towards their bottom lane, trying to get Gumayushi ahead. So we'll see now, with Jankos playing more towards that bottom side, T1 have the info. We are very likely going to end up in that cross map situation, and we're going to have to find out how well can Broken Blade really withstand the onslaught, because he's the one that's going to be left to his own
Got
devices.
the bottom lane of G2 coming in kind of at a very awkward angle there that can sometimes get punished.
Very well. Gentlemen, I do want to draw your attention to that mid lane,
Draw
of course. It is our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz.
And G2 got a really deep ward here into T1's bottom jungle, which should help them in the early game, because vision is the most important thing. And there we go. They got Guma's flash, and then Carrier's ignite. Used all of Pike's summoners. So this is the time where, because Owner is in their top jungle, but this is the time to come gank Pike. Or
when it is split map and your junglers on your side is great for G2, because Gumayushi now down flash could fall prey to a Jankos gank.
Exactly that, Azale, and I think it's important.
Zeus has double the farm of Gangplank right now, so he's doing really well in his lane and shoved Claire up. But that's the right place for Viego to be, actually, because when you're pushed up like that, you should have a ward or have a teammate in that area. That's where the jungler should be. They're gonna get an easy dive here. Oh, and they get a TP out of Caps, which I don't know if that was good or a waste of Caps. I don't know why he went for that, but he will have double buffs. I guess he thought he had, since he got the TP, that he had to make a trade. Oh, Faker, he gets 2 kills bottom. They'll replay it again, I'm sure.
But he's dropping waves to do it. Faker was able to push in the wave, go towards bot, get 2 kills. So to me, the big winner by far here is Faker in the mid lane.
And Faker's got blue buff, so
G2 on the other side can really make use of this 1 kill that they got Flak at, because he is now
he's got double the CS of Caps right now. We've got Zeus using his TP.
Short period of time. I'm curious as to where the replay is going to start. So we're going to have a look at this bot lane. As you can see, a level advantage for G2. The aggro starts by being taken by Targamas. Then they're going to set up the focus onto Gumayushi.
Janko uses his flash. It's down. Faker's ignite. Carry his heal and flash. So the only ones left is Faker has a flash up, Flacket has a cleanse, and Broken Blade has a flash. Oh, Kyria has a flash.
Well-executed dive themselves, so T1 with a very big lead already.
But they're looking for a repeat now. They know the summoners are still down on Gumayushi. Caps, though, spotted out. Noner going to intercept here, make things a little bit awkward. As Faker's now cheating down, they're going to collapse.
Carry's going to handshake. Caps here is looking to try and get out. The blast code's going to disappear, though.
Caps was very overconfident right there.
Faker's going to jump over the wall, and it's just a matter of a few seconds.
Meaning when he roamed down the bottom.
Taken here by T1 as Faker, I think, should be able to get an auto in. Oh! It is going to be Owner that locks down the kill, so claims the double buffs, and Faker looked like he didn't want to take it.
Well, I think it was one of those situations where there's never really a bad one, right? Either your jungler's getting the double buffs refreshed, or the mid laner gets another kill. But the fact that G2, they keep trying to attack the spot lane and the action continues.
Yeah, Flacket taking a fair bit of damage here as Targamas is going to disappear for a moment. Owner's down here as well, though.
I'm always trying to, when I'm watching, I'm trying to watch the mini-map and see what's going on around the whole map. Faker is completely shoved up in the middle turret. And so this is where Jankos doesn't know where to go because all 3 lanes are completely shoved up into G2's T1 turrets. So, you know, he's got all 3 lanes complaining in his ear that they need help.
Yeah, Flacket's in a little bit of trouble here. His owner's going to rotate over, looking for some vision.
Which, since the other lanes are shoved up, they can't come help, so it makes Jankos have to come help.
Moves himself out of the brush. That control ward would spot the Jarvan if he was going to come in, but right now going to stay in Fog of War. Explosive charge onto Caps. It's just such a difficult matchup here for the Galio.
The experience difference is really starting to build, though, especially along with the
so I guess nobody wants the dragon on here. T1 don't really value the dragon. They value the herald.
The bot lane, given that they've been able to weather the storm, have done a really good job, and it surprises me because when we think about expectations coming into this matchup,
the normal style of T1 fashion is to take all the objectives on the map. They're not playing their normal style in this game. They're trying to style.
Now worried for G2 because this early game style is not something that we typically see from them. This level of aggression is not something that we often see from them. And now it's only going to make those team fights that they want to play towards.
I think that's what Vedius just said.
We know that T1 is just so deadly with a lead. In 9 out of their 10 Rumble games, they were able to grab that first Herald. In 10 out of their 10 Rumble games, they were able to secure first tower, never once giving up a tower pre-14 of their own. And when T1 gets ahead and they're able to grab the Herald, they can snowball that game
Yankos, oh, he can't do, Yankos can't do anything because Jarvan is very ult specific. I don't think so, but most people think that you cannot gank really well till you get his ult, so there Yankos finally has his ult. But he's really wanting that ult on Jarvan before he makes any plays on the map. But he finally got that. And T1 get the first Herald uncontested. So G2 just hands the Herald over to T1, which is like giving them 2k gold if they pull off everything.
I like the response from T1 even more. Dropping the Herald mid, I think makes so much sense.
They've got, well, look, they've got 15.8k on the map right now. 16k. And there was Yanko's flash and ult. Guma summoners are down. And they take him down. But still, T1's making a lot of gold. That's the thing, they're kind of distracting you. But the real work's going on in the middle where they just got 2k gold.
Astronomically ahead, already has the mythic complete here. Well, Caps has got some steel shoes and a Kindle gem.
It's kind of like being a magician. Hey, look down here while we're doing this up here. That's how T1 like to operate.
Seos is building a level lead. The jungle lead is starting to build, and yes, G2 are finding advantages towards the bot side of the map. Flackhead is getting very far ahead, but the rest of the map going in favor of T1.
Yeah, critical that Gumiushi did hit 6 prior to this dive going off. Right on that last minion, flashes out, looking like, hey, he might have been able to get away, but Flackhead connects with the ult on carry under the tower, finishes him off.
Really nice sidestep from Carrier there. Props to him, making it that bit harder for Flackhead to secure that kill. And huge props to the T1 bot lane, because really that's their first loss of the game in terms of the aggression that they've experienced in the bot side of the map. They've weathered the storm.
I don't think Pyke has really done anything to be helpful in this game so far.
For T1. So yes, Gumiushi, you have been attacked a lot, but the good news for you is you've got Faker and Seos.
And normally in the pro games I watch in LCK, they pretty much never take range support. It's always a melee tank support in the pro matches.
They always have a plan for if something's being taken across map. I said that before. You know, we've been saying it all tournament. It's meantime.
I do see Renata in a lot of games, and she's an enchanter. So. And they also got Zeus up top, I think, winning his lane on top of winning his bottom. Yeah. I've said in my previous videos, I'm not big on the Ignite, TP Ignite, because you can be punished later, or you can be punished if you don't have a flash. I don't know why they don't instantly think Gwen doesn't have Ignite, we'll just punish her the entire game. Maybe they never got a chance.
Okay, I feel like, you know there was a movie about bullets bending.
Okay, so we got 23k gold now to 18. A 5k gold lead.
Disgusting to watch how good they are at dodging all of these skills, but such a well-executed early game once again from T1. And you know, we talked about it yesterday on the analyst test. The analyst talked about.
We haven't really got to see about if Broken Blade uses those barrel chains or not, like we saw Ben pull off.
Once again, and the props to him. There's only so much he can do, and this much is thrown at him. But the response from T1 is equally as strong.
I mean, it's incredible, right? Like it should have just been a super easy free
And
kill.
normally this Jarvan and Galio is a really good combination. The Jarvan ult with Galio's ult on top to save Jarvan. I think it's where you kind of need like a Nautilus or a Braum or something to go in with those two.
The ward comes down, so he's going to escape unscathed. 3-0-0 on the Tristana, and I love this, you know.
Of course, Pyke just got his ult, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll go around the map and get a bunch of kills.
Best bottom lane in the world.
I doubt
was
it.
one of the people on tape saying that. And it looks like G2 got the memo. They're like, well, we're going to take down this best bottom lane in the world. And you know what that means? That means Faker's 3-0-0 with a billion farm left completely on his own.
They don't punish Faker ever.
It's absurd. Gets another full tower here on the bottom side
Triss
of the map.
isn't that difficult to take
It's just
down.
such a smart pick. You know, coming into yesterday's series, I was thinking if we were going to see this kind of matchup, it would be against Shabu because he's such a Galio guy. He's known for it.
You can imagine they were ready for the Galio matchup, right?
Yeah,
And Triss, her main thing is she just eats turrets down. I mean,
less expected that they would just be
you don't even need her to get takedowns or anything. She just takes turrets down so fast because she's got the grenade that does damage to the turrets. So
Gumayushi is right up there with him. He is 600 gold down, but he has the same items in inventory right now. And T1 have opened up a nearly
played correctly, like Faker's showing us, you can just roam around the map and take all the turrets down over time, because that's what he's doing, and they're not stopping him. G2, that is.
It was very much a G2's early game proactivity. Faker was just the recipient. All those bot lane dives.
T1, all members have their first item already.
That's fine. I'll take your plates. I'll take your towers.
Gangplank doesn't have his yet.
Punishing all of the decisions that G2 has been making in this early game. And this was one of the big concerns I had for trying to match this team in the early game, because T1, regardless of what you tried to do to them, within the first 15 minutes of the game,
Galio's TP here. Here's another turret, and they're not punishing him. And Faker's up here by himself.
Cannon barrage available here for Broken Blade, but they're not going to go for it. Faker is going to make it out. Just a rocket jump required as they look for this Herald.
And one of the most
And
impressive things
talking about the line, Faker's one that loves to cross the line, but he's one of the only ones that are allowed to do it because he'll come back alive most of the time.
For Herald and a gold lead on top side, but T1 is able to outplay in so many situations and have so many.
I guess you can't come back if you're not alive, but he most of the time he comes back. But most players that aren't Faker, they should never be able to allowed to cross that line unless they have vision or a teammate around the corner.
Yeah, and this is actually what Faker is doing here with the mid lane Tristana, is what we see so many Tristanas.
Zeus is pushed way up too, and not being punished. Jankos and Gangplank should be able to collapse and punish Gwyn, but they're not.
They would just move. Is it just a
I mean, G2 from the beginning might be the dreaded word tilted. I don't really like the word, but whatever. Where their communication's just off the wall because all three of the lanes were losing early, so he didn't know where to go, who to help, so it just threw off the whole game. Should have been trying to shut Faker down. But
people, of course, right now, T1 look very much in control, and on paper,
probably a game where Jankos is saying the whole time, I wish I had Nocturne and not Jarvan. That's how it goes. You gotta work with what you have. I don't have the best equipment right now, but I'm trying to do my best and work with what I have. I'd like to be good enough at what I'm trying to do and get better equipment. More followers. I've spent the time.
From the Rumble stage was that every team that took a Baron against T1 was actually behind in gold.
And got a deep ward here for T1 up near the G2 base, the bottom side. Summoner and ult checks. Everyone has their summoners and ults up. So that pretty much means there's going to be a team fight. Got the dragon coming up in 15 seconds.
Here they go. T1's over at the Baron. Time to get a free ace in a Baron. Get right back into it. And T1 didn't even start it up in that case.
G2 couldn't even begin to come close to prepping and doing the dragon. So it's just going to go uncontested.
Very, very clean because they are just monstrously ahead. 7,000 gold, 17 minutes is a shellacking. And it's going to take some real playmaking from G2.
The gold count is getting too high for me to count in my head. It's 28k to 34k, 35k.
like that, but it's, you know, moving ever further towards closer to 7 right now. That is 2 Drakes behind, as well as the Hextech Soul coming in. I got excited for a moment, and then I was unexcited afterwards as the clouds
feel
dissipated.
the wind in your hair.
I certainly did, you know.
That was me, actually. I was just breathing.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you whether you felt it as well.
And then T1 gets the Scuttle Crab up top in front of the Baron.
It's just a little.
Yeah.
Calling
But
it down.
I liked it a lot.
Maybe I'm really excited if NA wins the game.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what the time is just going to surprise. Yeah, distracting you guys with a little bit.
Calm down. It's okay.
Zeus now.
There's Zeus was actually caught. Could have almost. He got lucky. He got out of there, but he didn't have that flash. He could have been punished. That was the first time I've seen the entire game where G2 was trying to punish Zeus. I think he just accidentally ran into him. Like, whoop, it's a ghost. There's Galio's ult come in and save, and he also Everfrosted when he landed. His TP is coming in. Zeus has got the only one that's got TP on T1. Yakos is down. If I recall right, this game is almost over in 20 minutes, which should be the goal of every game. I did a warm-up video earlier today where I was talking about it. Should target goal be in the game before 20 minutes, before the other team can surrender. That's the goal. Will it happen? No. It's almost impossible to end a game before 20 minutes, but it can be done. Which is just, you know, horrible, because, I mean, that's how I want to win. I want to win before 20 minutes. Why my enemy can't even, my enemy or teammates can't even surrender the game until then. So to lose before you can even surrender is kind of just devastating.
It's once again a situation where T1 is just the recipient of G2's decision making. G2 feel pressured and they go to try and make a pick happen. The ultimate comes through. I mistakenly believe that move is a flash for some reason. And in any case, G2, look at how aggressive they are at the bot lane once again, where there's the storm. Gumayushi and Carrier just buy time.
I don't know, they had Zeus cornered down here and let him run into the blast plant and get away. I don't know, maybe like G2 was scared. They've got a new bottom lane, so G2's done way more than anyone expected. There's Caps' stopwatch. I didn't do a stopwatch count. There's Faker in the bottom blue jungle just taking everything. 42k now to 33, so it's 10k gold lead at 20 minutes, 21 minutes into the game.
And even the top lane becomes quite concerning now when you see the second item is already through there for Zeus. Second item in for Gumayushi, albeit a cheaper build than what Flacket has.
Hey, G2 can take advantage of the objective bounties right now because they're up.
For his IE, and then he is just going to be completely uncontested on the map.
Yeah, if he's not already at this stage of the game. The IE does come on through. Owner also sitting on a couple of items. That is a full completed item ahead of Jankos on the other side of the rift. This is
anyone ever noticed how this looks like a heart?
Getting yeah, the amount of surmountability is not very high.
And T1 got to start the dragon at 21 minutes into the game.
This is exactly the time that G2 might have a chance as T1 ripping through this.
So what was that? We had Zeus' ult. And of course Jankos is going to fly in, and then Caps is going to fly in with him to save him, I'm sure. What else we got down? We've got G2's, or we've got Broken Blade's ult down. We've got Faker's ult he just used. Viego. See how it looks like a heart?
Through G2, they kill off Jankos before he has any chance to steal here. And now with the Baron buff and the super minions coming,
I think that means Viego has some love in him.
22-minute end.
An absolute slaughter from the side of T1 as the 5 members make their way towards.
And at this point, I don't know what G2 can really do to come back. They need a miracle at this point.
take a little bit of a Hextech ride to get themselves back towards the base. They'll grab a reset before they try to end.
Wow, they must be really good friends with Jace that they can all get a premium pass out of base like
that's
that.
pretty cool.
That's pretty convenient. But G2,
And I think G2 are going to Dragon. I know T1's heading to Dragon.
Lose their base just yet. The potential to find that miracle fight still exists, but a miracle is exactly what it must be to turn this game around.
He's hex skating in blind.
We're just hex skating. We're just like they're just beelining towards the G2 base right now.
Top lane can't even get out of the base. Push clear in.
To the Drake.
Who needs wards when you are the ward?
Yeah, exactly.
I am become the vision.
What do I got to be scared of? If I can
T1, I've hit on it before, taking advantage of the Baron buff. They're taking complete advantage of the Baron buff because mainly the buff is made to buff up the minions so you get a really a much stronger push into the enemy base.
It worked out very
And
well. I think the Tristana pick was fantastic from Faker G2.
see a lot of games where the teams get the Baron buff and they don't even push lanes or do anything with it. They just get it to get it.
They are going to do this one by the book. As the inhibitor
But if you're gonna get the Baron, you should plan afterwards to push into the enemy base. It'll help you get the first tier towers down in their base and their inhibitors. Caps had a Zanya's, Jarvan has a stopwatch. Zeus is gonna TP in. All of T1 have 2 items, I think, at least, if not 3, and G2 1, maybe 1, 2. Alright, so that's game 1 of T1 versus G2 knockout stage day 2. So stick with me. I will do game 2 coming up. You'll see it, the links. I didn't know if I should do all games all at once, or it's better for me to split them up individually. And the way the games are on LOL Esports VODs YouTube, they are split up, so it makes it easier. So I kind of like